my brand. And it's like, literally, what's the worst thing that can happen? But if I'm choosing today to identify myself as someone who works with busy women, I'm going to approach these brands, give them the ideas, and go from there. And a lot of that has even led to year partnerships. And like they said, the biggest thing is truly putting yourself out there. That's the biggest thing coming into Hollywood. I'm thinking, what are all these celebrity trainers doing? And you realize they all have the same foundations. They just have the guts to go for it. And everyone can do it in their own space, in your own town, to make your own impact. Okay. And thinking about creating that impact and moving at a different place. Now we're transitioning into technology. It's a constantly growing topic. And we're talking about the modern coach using tech and data to deliver better results and scale. Okay, so the important thing about using technology is using it to your benefit, but not forgetting to keep the human element to it, okay? These are all tools, but remember, the same theme at the end of the day is remembering what you provide that makes you different. So moderating this panel here is my husband, Nathan Hyland, and coming to the stage to join him is Iqbal, Max Darsonval, and Dania Valladares. Please come onto the stage.
Thank you. That's my wife.
Let's go.
Come on up, guys. I think he was waiting for like the Bruce Buffer style introduction. You guys having fun out there? We learning some stuff? All right, we're gonna get situated here. Guys, it's an honor to be here. Some of you know me, my name's Nathan Hyland. I'm joined by these awesome panelists. Basically, we only have 40 minutes, so I have a tough job. I have to take all the awesome knowledge about technology and AI that lives in each one of these humans and implant it into your heads, okay? So we've curated questions that, in talking to you guys, these weeks leading up, we think are gonna land pretty well. My goal is to leave a couple minutes at the end to get some audience questions. So basically, like Mary Chris said, this is about technology and AI. Anybody afraid of like AI robots taking over our jobs and maybe the world? Anybody a little bit afraid of that? I know there's some, I see some hands. Sometimes there's some apprehension, all right? By the end of this, the goal is that you guys feel better about AI and technology. And by Monday, you can start implementing this stuff. If we cover at least those two bases, we did a good job as a panel today. So with that, I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna introduce these awesome people here. We'll start with Dania Valladares. She is a computer scientist with over 15 years of experience building state-of-the-art consumer applications across industries. Her passion for using technology to help people live longer, healthier lives led her to found Agora Fitness, a platform that redefines how coaches scale their business by launching their personal AI to train thousands of clients with their proprietary methods across geographies and languages. Welcome to Dania. Thank you. And then we got Max over here. Max, I'm just meeting for the first time, and he's an awesome guy. He's a Navy SEAL veteran whose experience optimizing human performance in some of the world's most demanding environments inspired him to build at the intersection of elite coaching and artificial intelligence. As the founder of Velocity AI, he has developed a real-time adaptive training platform that combines wearable velocity-based sensors with an AI coaching engine, enabling coaches to turn movement data into immediate individualized feedback that improves client outcomes without sacrificing the human connection. I think that's what we're all here for today, right? We want to be personal trainers. We want to keep the personal in personal training or group exercise or however we're interfacing with our clients. We don't want to lose that. Thanks so much, Max. Mo, you guys probably know Mo. He's all over the place. He's always on panel discussions, leading so many cutting edge things. He's the Chief Strategy Officer at ABC Fitness, where he leads strategy, innovation, mergers and acquisitions, and strategic partnerships for one of the world's largest fit tech platforms, serving more than 25,000 fitness businesses and over 45 million members globally. A lifetime entrepreneur and founder of Sweatworks, Mo Iqbal has spent more than a decade helping shape the future of fitness technology. He empowers operators to create better client experiences, improve retention, and grow healthier businesses. Let's thank these three panelists for being here today. All right, so this first question is a question for all three of you, okay? I want to see how they're answering, and I think it'll kind of give you guys some contrast for how they're looking at AI and technology. So let's start with Max, okay? When people hear AI and coaching, they may think competition, replacement, or other negative framing. What encouragement or advice can you give the coaches and operators here today who are reluctant or resistant to artificial intelligence in our industry?
That's a great question. First of all, hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me. The way that I view AI as a superior layer on top of data intelligence is the ability to compute unfathomable amounts of data incredibly quickly. And so if we talk about the dynamics of lifting as being very much largely measured right now at the general consumer level, in contrast to professional sport, where you have velocity-based training as a core input. When we bring consumer available technology and we're able to give access to elite level training, we can use AI as an augment, much like a calculator could be to an accountant. And so we can compute data in a way that would be unachievable at a human level in order to determine things in real time that the human brain and eye could not perceive, giving us really good training data and decision layers to everything that is going on. So gone will be the days of guesswork for load management. What weight do we start with? What is our next increment? What is our real 80% today? If we can calculate what somebody's true power potential is in that moment, regardless of all the contributing variables that we cannot calculate that determine somebody's performance, we can have really accurate training. We can keep our clients safe, and we can ensure that we know exactly how they're trending, not just on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, but every single day that they train.
Awesome. Yeah, really, obviously a great tool for the coach, and doesn't replace the coach, it enhances the coach. Absolutely. Dania, would love to hear from you.
Yes, I would like to give my perspective. I'm not a coach, I'm an engineer, but I'm extremely passionate about fitness, and what I do is build platforms for you guys. So when I think about technology, I know AI can be super scary, but it's best if we start trying to position how we're going to use these tools in different buckets. So we can use tools to enhance our one-on-one relationship with the client, right there in the room with us. This is what Max was talking about how can we help us analyze the data, improve the client results. We can also use AI tools to help us make our operations more efficient. So start thinking about what are those tasks that you do in repetition, and how can you start optimizing the thing that's boring in favor of the areas where you're actually producing value. So let me ask you, how many of you are using like ChatGPT, Claude? Right, this is the first step into getting yourself familiar with these interfaces, but there is much more. Like, how many of you are familiar with skills, like AI skills? So, an AI skills is a powerful new concept. And by the way, I don't just want to throw these concepts out there. You can come find me if you have any questions, and I can help you at least, get started with these concepts. But there's also the third bucket, which is thinking about how to scale your business. And this is the area that I'm mostly passionate about because it's my area of expertise. And when we look throughout history, there's been these moments of time that there's been different artifacts that we traditionally use to scale our businesses, right? And all of them have make us put some resistance to it at first. We had websites, right? We had social media, and many people were not wanting to go into social media to kind of in favor of authenticity, and there this changed the whole industry. We had apps, and we honestly believe that the next version of those artifacts is going to be AI agents. So you need to start thinking about creating your AI version, and that's what we do. And the best way that I have, it's through a story of one of our clients. So he comes back, I say, hey, Dania, I'm so happy. I used to be at the gym, and all those people approaching me and saying, hey, can I train with you? But I was capped, right? I was just had all my clients. I didn't have any extra time, and I was losing that business opportunity. So there is a whole new price here that you can take advantage of, a new revenue channel if you disconnect your method from your human presence. And now he's saying, no, I cannot train you this month, but hey, do you want to use my AI agent? So you can keep the $2,000 customer a month, but also start making a new revenue stream by selling these $30 or $50 subscriptions to many, many, many other customers. So think about how many followers you have, like 50,000. How many of those are your actual customers? Like less than 1% easily. So it's an extremely exciting time to be a coach if you want to open your mind and look at the opportunity in front of you by leveraging many of these tools.
That's awesome. I love how you frame that, not just from systems and processes standpoint, but the revenue opportunities. Anybody here not want to make more money? I mean, these are the types of things, and Dania is very gracious to offer. You guys can come talk to her more about that. But that's the types of things that I'm really excited that we're talking about. Mo, lastly to you. I know we covered some stuff. What else is left on the bone with regards to AI and the value add that it can provide?
Yeah, one, I'm really happy to be here. It's my first event, and so this has been great so far. I want to take a step back, and I think in the last 6 years, there's been 3 transformative forces, which I believe is going to be transformative for personal trainers, and it's going to make them more relevant than ever. The first is the pandemic. We came out of the pandemic where consumers have built tremendous awareness about their own health, their own wellness, and also decided to take control of that journey, largely due to distrust in the traditional healthcare institutions that we have in place, not just in the US, but around the world. I think that the second one is the rise of peptides, starting with GLP-1. And that has also been incredibly transformative because it brought more people into the fold. But here's the thing. When you're on it, as everyone here knows, you need to add nutrition, strength training, and other tools in order to make sure that once you come off it, you can continue on a healthy journey. And the third is AI. And AI is almost like the accelerant towards all the momentum that we want to create. One of the biggest changes that we've seen on AI is that it changes your skill set. So where you might have learned to be effective using tools like Excel to create programs or using admin tools and platforms and softwares, AI and agents can take a lot of that away. And what it's really helped over-index on is the soft skills. It's skills like empathy, communication, community building, accountability. So what we've seen shift, and one of the platforms of ABC is a platform called Trainerize, which I think some of you might be using today. We've really invested that into Trainerize, understanding that how do we take the busy work out and where we can automate that leveraging agents? How do we surface up the soft skills that trainers so want to bring? Because I think that's really where you'll see a shift towards outcome focused rather than just saying, I've got to crank out 10 different plans this weekend. It's more about, can I connect with the message? Can I check in on how someone is doing? But there's more I'll comment on that with some of the other questions.
Yeah, no, you definitely talked on a couple points that we're going to get to more in a bit. Really, really appreciate that, Mo. Awesome insights. Max, I want to come back to you. Not many people in this room, aside from, I know, Mark Rodriguez and, some other people have experienced like the elite military background, right? So coming from that elite military background, what performance has critical where it has critical consequences? How do you balance trusting data versus trusting experience?
I could say that that's not a question I thought about. I don't know if we talked about that one, but I will answer it for you guys. Data versus experience. So I think one of the things that Mo hit on that I really liked, I think this hype circle, this news cycle of talking about the replacement of so many things with AI is deliberately daunting, and it gets everyone's attention. But really the sensible solution that I believe that as a society we're going to reach is a delineation of roles and responsibilities. And so when we talk about data as a whole, there are exceptional data scientists out there. I have multiple in our company right now that I rely on very much. But data itself, the ability to measure data, the ability to analyze that data, and then as a result of that, to be able to make determinations from it is something that we can trust the right AI, the right machine learning algorithms, the right RAG retrieval systems to be able to do. And so if I'm understanding your question correctly, there is not an issue between data and trust as it pertains to AI. What we need to understand is what the delineation is between the responsibility of what AI is going to take and what the human capital involved on any given effort is going to be. And as long as we're comfortable about that, we can leverage the things that matter in direct scenarios. And in the context of data, there is nothing better to provide really rapid insights than a machine learning algorithm or an agentic AI that can sit over the top of, for example, we have these devices out right now. I collected 128,000 data points today with these devices and different biometric devices, and we were able to give really detailed insights by the time people woke up on 75 different people based on their biometrics, based on their real-time performance, and then also based on qualitative feedback that they're giving a platform. From there, an AI is sitting over the top and it's able to give really actionable insights to that individual or to those coaches that would take a human being days to sift through. So is there really a question between data and trust, or is it just about delineation of where we want to put AI as responsible and where we put in and knowing our role?
Yeah, I know I put you on the spot with that question, but that's beautiful. And you gave us a really good example when we met last week about what you're doing with Velocity AI. Can you share just a little bit about, you painted a really good picture of how even a really well-trained coach who's been doing it for years would miss this little millisecond of information versus Velocity AI and how it's capturing that.
Great question. I just want to get an idea for the room's sort of experience with velocity-based training. Has anyone used velocity-based training before, either as an athlete or as a coach? Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So we've got a few people, but in general, it's kind of a nebulous concept to most people, and that's totally understandable. Velocity-based training right now is used at all forms of elite strength training, from the NFL to the NHL to the MLB to all Olympic programs that have a strength component of it. And it's because it's absolutely vital to truly measure what somebody's capable of that day. Percentage-based programming, progressive overload, amazing, but those percentages are based off static points in time. What we're doing with Velocity AI is we're bringing this technology that's been sort of gate-kept at elite levels, not deliberately, but it's been cost prohibitive, and it's also been knowledge prohibitive. One of the great things about what everyone has the opportunity to do with AI, and what AI does in general is it democratizes information and it makes things accessible and intuitively such to people across different domains that would previously have required years of studying. That's an asset to us. So in the context of training, in the context of what we do, we're providing real projections of what somebody is capable of that moment. From that point, we can make determinations based on the programs that you guys write, your methods, or methods that are selected and validated in sports science, if that's what you want to use. And we can actually quantify and calibrate how people should move from step to step. There is no guesswork for how strong somebody is when you're able to project it by calculating force. What you can do with velocity through power is equal to force times velocity. If you move a certain weight, a certain speed, and that was your best intent, I know what you're capable of that day if I can measure it. Does anyone feel like that would be a hindrance to them as a coach with a personal client to really know where somebody's at on that day? Yeah.
I think that's really good. Yeah, no, thank you so much for breaking that down. I think these are very practical ways that we as coaches who maybe haven't embraced AI and technology as much, these are very practical things that we can start doing. Dania, I want to come back to something that you touched on a little bit, and it was kind of the automation of some systems and processes. Maybe some of these coaches here are doing that, maybe they're not. What's like one thing that's really practical that, for the coaches out here who haven't moved towards that yet, that they should start automating like Monday of next week? That, like something they could do, that's pretty low hanging fruit.
One of the first outcomes that coaches get when when it comes to adopting an AI first mindset in our platform is the assessments, for example. Assessment, how do you assess clients in that first visit is something that it's very unique to each coach, and it really depends on your specific method. And this ties really, really well with data, right? The value of the data is on the decision it changes. So this client can come to you with all the wearables data. They will know their resting heart rate, their sleeping score, their glucose monitor values. So you have to understand your methodology, have it well documented, so you run the assessment and you're able to really quick put them on the right plan. So there is something that maybe it's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's the first thing that we ask our coaches to do, which is, do you understand your material? Are you able to organize these programs that you're delivering to clients? Like, what's your target audience? Could you give me the at least top categories of clients you are specializing in? And do you understand, or do you have well organized the data that you use to train them, these programs? Like, do not throw this away. This is your moat. This is your golden material. So these training programs that you give to this sector A, sector B, then how do you progress them through different phases? This is the data that then you can feed into platforms like ours, like Agora Fitness or ChatGPT or Claude, depending on your specific goal, and then really automate your processes. So I'll say this is one very actionable step to be really organized and to try to start automating some of the things you do every day. One is assessment, for sure.
Awesome. Anything you guys want to add to that? Okay.
The only thing I would add is I would say that you're hearing a lot about what Max talked about and bringing wearable data in. That's really an opportunity for AI, I think, to help contextualize it. Because at the end of the day, your clients want simplicity. They want directionally to know, am I having a good day, to your point, or a bad day? How far can I go? How far can I push? And as a personal trainer, there's a lot of new technologies which are coming out, and you might think, do I need to be an expert on it now? And with AI, the answer is that you don't. As long as you can use a model that you trust and one that you're consistent with, I think it can really help upskill what you're offering your clients.
That's awesome. Really, really good point. And I know we have some operators here today too. I want to ask kind of a gym-based question that the coaches will still benefit from, but perhaps some of the managers and owners here of facilities will appreciate. This is going to go to you, Mo. So you've seen so many facilities around the world. We've been together in, different continents. And so you've had so much experience with the integration of these technologies and facilities. What separates organizations successfully adopting the tech versus those falling behind?
I think it comes down to the organizational culture. And maybe I could even go take one close to home. At ABC Fitness, we have about 3,000 employees. And when AI first came to fold, a lot of our employees were using AI before we were. At Sweatworks, we have about 200 or so employees, and same thing there. So in the modern era, and I think this goes back to mobile phones, when mobile phones came out in the 2000s, they started coming into the workplace. And the workplace tried to enforce BlackBerries. If you guys are old enough to recall BlackBerries, but they would enforce that. So you would have two phones, your personal phone, and then you had your BlackBerry. And now with AI, that's really changed. So people were coming in into the workplace using ChatGPT about 3.5 years ago. I think organizational transformation starts at the top with leadership, and you have to have buy-in, and then you have to enforce it. And I think you have to help upskill people to do it. So when I look at operators, it's the operators that invest in their entire team, give existing people an opportunity to upskill. But here's the really hard decision is sometimes you've got to make tough decisions. You've got to know that there are people in my team that are actually holding me back. And as much as they've been a core part of how we've come to this point, they just are not able to upskill where they need to go and are going to hold us back. So in both my organizations, we had to transition from quite a few members who we love and who've been a part of us just because we spent 12 months trying to upskill them. They weren't there. And in this AI native era, that's really important. So back to your original question, from an operator perspective, very few, I think, are doing a great job. I think we've got Crunch in the room here. Crunch is doing a phenomenal job at doing that. And so you'll find companies, I'll say Lifetime Fitness is another one. I spoke to Lifetime recently on AI. Phenomenal job in upskilling their team. But it's really hard to find that because you become friends with your staff, you become friends with your team members. But I think, running a business to the success of everyone requires making those tough choices.
Okay, awesome. One other thing I wanted to talk about that I was talking to a coach a couple weeks ago, and he made the comment that, well, if I use AI, the other guy's using AI, it's going to spit out the same answer, right? And I don't know enough about AI. Like I'm probably like in the middle of this room. Like I use it, but I don't know like how it works. You know what I mean? So like talk to us about personalization. The digital twin AI agent thing is really interesting. I know you guys probably each have your unique takes on that and are maybe solving it in different ways. But how is that coach who has the objection of, well, it's just going to spit out the same information that somebody else, is using? It's not me. It's not personalized. How do we overcome that?
The traditional ways to use AI, at least the way that most of people are used to, is just through prompting. So the quality of the outcome really depends on the quality of the prompts. So for coaches just using, for example, ChatGPT to create these programs that they will give to their clients, they really need to understand how to produce a good prompting. And today, right, it's evolved a lot during the past year. Prompting is not only about you write, it's about the material that has access to going back to your data, like past examples. So trying to give that unique coach. In our specific case, Agora Fitness, what we do is it's not just prompting. We really create a set of agents that understand how you function as a coach, for example. So that's another layer. We study your system, your progression, your rules, your voice, your tones, your past examples of success. And we create something that's truly unique to you. So when somebody talks to agent of Coach John and agent of Coach Mary, the experience is gonna be totally different. So here you need to think about the technology as a new surface. And going back to the history, right? The way to do this in the past is to get to those clients that you couldn't train before is through creating PDFs or pre-recorded programs. So the new ecosystem and technology is calling for an evolution of this method, right? A way that you can put your method into work in a very unique way. So if you're going to use traditional tools like ChatGPT and Claude just to stay in the middle of that relationship, I will really advise you to really understand, systematize your prompts. And there are many, many tools. Again, you can reach out to me, understanding how to create your own projects, how to save your memory, create your identity within these tools. So you make sure that the program you produce for your client is truly you. And if you're ready to go to the next level and just decouple yourself from that experience, but still put your method at work, come find me as well. And I can explain more about Agora Fitness and how can that work.
Yeah, it's a really interesting concept. Like the AI agent, the digital twin. It's like they're talking to you, but they're not really talking to you. I see the value. Just kind of, it's crazy. It's crazy what we're developing. Max, what about you? Like with the Velocity AI, other AI tools you're using around programming specifically, how are we still personalizing it, with the coach?
So for us, personalization does not start with really the trainer's specific methodology, right? So we have a system that is built off 49 of sports science's most validated strength and conditioning methods on earth. All stop. That is the material. Those are the mathematic principles. That is everything from human physiology to different strength training methods that this system is going to design a program for your client based off of. You as the coach are meant to do the things that coaches are best at, right? It's not necessarily the construction of a proprietary workout method. I know that is important, and everyone here has something unique to give. Our platform is not meant for personalization from the coach to the client. It is meant for personalization to the client. How that personalization to the client happens is from figuring out everything about that client, their unique attributes, their demographics, their injury history, things that we determine through movement screening as well that we pick up that they might not detail, and then their biometric information that all gets brought into a system that then when you add in somebody's goals, what their unique goals are and when they want to hit them, there is a combination of all of those methods that I talked about before that will get applied to that individual. So that is a customized program, right? But the program is just the start. Every single time that individual is training with you, every single time that they are working out, now we're talking about quantifying the work that they did, their accumulated load, their actual power potential, the relationship between their performance to their recovery. How does their nutrition fall into the entire thing? And my personal opinion, and this might be a little bit abstract, some of you in the room might not like it. There is a right way for an individual that can be determined probably better than we can as humans determine just by applying our proprietary method that we use with 20 other clients. That's trust in science. So that's the first obstacle. Do we have trust in science? Do we have trust in the provider of this technology, that the systems that they are trained off of, the technology is based off science that we believe in? And then at that point, personalization is client-facing, not coach-facing. And then the coaches are there for what Mo said before. It's for encouragement. It's for accountability. It's for everything that you guys do perfectly. And now we can actually see how people are performing over time. Every single day, I can measure to see how someone's doing. I can determine if they need to be, reduced load or intensity. All of those sorts of things. And so that's how I view that. Not necessarily which AI is better. The company that you use for this sort of thing, you better be confident about what they based all of their information off of.
Yeah, totally makes sense. And any personal trainers in here like numbers, fitness professionals? I know some people like calculating 1 rep max and velocity. Others are like, if I can outsource that, let me outsource it, right? And AI can do it so quick. And so I love that. I love how you guys are positioning this. Mo, anything left on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, so I think that the original question was, how do you differentiate when using the same tool? To me, AI is the new interface. If you think about your iPhone or your Android device, think about iOS, that's the tool. It's an interface. The modern interface is now AI. So no one in this room says, well, because you have an iPhone and you have an iPhone, it's the same product. I think
a really good point.
The brand is you, and your clients are coming because of what you have to offer to them. AI is absolutely no different. So the way I structure and think about it is that it truly is the new interface. And you'll see that, guys, changing everything from payments to discovery and SEO. All that's moving to AI as a new platform.
Can I add something?
Yeah, please.
I think that's extremely interesting because if you just acknowledge AI as a tool, like you were saying, the possibilities are like infinite. Like we've talked a lot about AI for coaches. What about AI for teams? Like for all the operators here, how many clients can actually afford a one-on-one trainer, and what happens to the rest of the audience or the clients that go to the gym and just trying to figure out their workout, right? How can you unlock value? You have an amazing team, an amazing knowledge base. What about creating an AI for your organization? What about also monetizing on those people that are not able to afford a personal client, a personal trainer today? So it's a very interesting space of opportunity here that just opens up, right? And what happens outside of the walls of the gym, right? When that person travels, right? If COVID hits, like what happens with unlocking value, like even outside of the walls while still preserving your brand? Because these AI agents are the first artifacts that are able to carry your brand in a whole new way, right? Not only your logo, your message, your content, but your judgment, your decision making. So you can be, it's the first time you can be right there with them throughout the entire day, right? They go to the gym, oh, my machine is taken. What do? I have to wait 15 minutes. Can I switch my workout? Can I rotate? Can I use another, workout really quick in real time with the same method, the same program that I'm already doing? I don't have to think about it. I just, can optimize my day.
Very good, very good. So we do have a little bit of time left. I have some more questions I wanted to go over, but before I do that, does anybody in the audience, do they have a question that we haven't covered yet that they'd love to ask one of the panelists? Anybody? It's okay if not, I have more. No pressure. Okay, we have a question here. Shay, here. Let me give you the microphone.
Hi, I'm Shay. Nice to meet you guys. Thank you for being here. As someone that struggles connecting the coaching side into AI and like I feel like I might lose a part of myself. What would you do to someone that has that fear?
Yeah. That's a really great question, and it's a totally understandable fear. What I would say is, again, it's the delineation of like what is your value as a coach, and what are we using this tool for? I like that we bring it up and frame it as a tool. It's exactly what it is, right? Are you going to judge an accountant for using a calculator? Absolutely not. What do you want from the accountant? You want them to reconcile your books, to get everything done, to file your taxes, all that sort of thing. So the personal interaction that you're getting and the job, essentially, how it's done, how well it's done is what really matters. So I would not view AI as a threat to anyone here, but AI is something that through different forms of technology, computer vision, sensors, things like that, we can now be informed as coaches. You guys can be informed as coaches to things that you never would have been able to perceive before. Trends in people's data over a few weeks that would take hours to pore over can be identified to you in moments, right? At the quality of a sports scientist, but at the speed of AI. That gives you a superpower. AI is a tool that gives coaches superpowers in so many ways. It is imperceptible, the difference between a movement moving at 0.6 meters per second and 0.4. So the human eye is not going to pick it up, but that's a 33% velocity fall off. We know in sports science, if somebody starts to have that type of fall off, that's not the right load for them anymore. We should put them at a lower weight and they should continue their set. Those are things that humans can't pick up with their eyes. We can't make those calculations fast enough. So we have a tool that can now. Does that take away from our ability to personally interface with the clients? Absolutely not. So that's my take on it. Does that answer your question?
And Shane, I'd love to add to that. I spent a lot of time on this with ABC Trainerize. So in Trainerize, we have 500,000 trainers on the platform, and they serve about 5 million members across all of our platforms. And when we were thinking about implementing AI about 2 years ago, that when we asked our coaches, many coaches, thousands of them in fact, said, this is a craft, I'm really passionate about it. But to your point, and just what Max said, it's the simple stuff, that the administrative work that is being automated through AI. In fact, it allows you to reach more people and see more people, but you still get to put your own personal touch and imprint on what the direction is like. So I think AI is an enabler. It also will allow you to digest more. So to Max's point, even taking a tool like his, you may have someone that has a wearable, you may have people in different phases of their life. You could now input that data and the AI could potentially give you more outcome-based feedback.
Just one tip. So AI is almost a buzzword this day. So AI is the equivalent to the internet in the 90s. So when you think about AI, my advice is, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? What is your goal, right? It's not AI for the sake of AI. It's what is the tool that I need to use to solve what problem? And how am I going to measure, the improvement, the ROI of using that tool, right? Do you want to use the tools because you want to get better client results? Do you want to use the tool to help us analyze this volume of data that you're getting from customers? Do you want to use the tools to expand your brand? Do you want to use the tools to scale? And there are many, many different vertical tools, and all of them are called AI, but in reality, they're quite different, right? ChatGPT and Claude, they're just assistants, right? There is one form of AI, and you can use that in many, many ways. Personal assistance, automating things, automating assessment, learning, right? As a learning, experience as well. But first, think about your goal, what you want to accomplish, and then put some time to do your research and pick the right tool for that problem. So it's not AI for the sake of AI.
Really good question. All right, we got time for one more. I'm going to run the microphone back. I don't want to hold us up from lunch. I'm going to pass this off to this gentleman here.
I'll go quick. When it comes to prompt engineering, I used AI tools for a lot of marketing for hundreds of thousands of users, right? And one thing I'm finding is being very specific when it comes to just an email that I want to send out, making sure that I say, use a subject line that is engaging for my target or specific audience. what I'm realizing is a lot of these AI tools that I'm using, it's remembering my type of company, my ROI from last year, all these kind of things, right? And it's actually giving me better answers based on its knowledge of me. Do I need to be worried about that in some way, shape, or form, that it's got all this information on my company?
Absolutely. I mean, AI governance is top of mind. Like, I run applied AI teams, and I work with many organizations. AI governance is definitely a concern. There are many security settings that you should be definitely taking a look at when you engage with some of this. I've already have many conversations. I've heard the word MCP server. So some of you already know what an MCP server is and how that's being used. You should definitely be very careful. You should be not only careful about what you put in a prompt, you should be careful because now almost as a seamless experience, these assistants are connecting to your email account, your calendar, right? They can get to your drive and they can read your password. So I'm also a security engineer, so you need to absolutely be very careful. But there is also another angle, which is AI and general AI. So all these models from OpenAI, right, from Anthropic, are being trained in data. So whether you want it or not, what you put there in your website, what you post in social media, right, it's gonna land in the LLMs. And this is generalized knowledge. So your experience is gonna get blended and it's gonna be nobody and everybody. So the future needs to look AI for each one of you, because it's a way you it's not gonna replace you. It's gonna replace the coaches that don't adopt this new technology, because you need to stand up against this. So there's more than 40 million of users every day designing their training with ChatGPT. There's more than 2.8 billion queries on ChatGPT every day. 5% of that is, what do I do with my fitness today, right? And your method, it's blended in there somehow, right? But we all know you cannot train with ChatGPT, right? You cannot guarantee you're gonna have the progression, the same method. It's very messy, right? So yes, you need to be careful. At the same time, there's an encouragement to think about your systems and your security settings, and AI governance should definitely be top of mind, always.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question, and all that is also true. If you run a company, what I would say is both the organizations on my side, we've subscribed to the enterprise version of it or the pro version of it. And you could also tell your AI not to store stuff in memory or only keep it for yourself. So when you're giving a prompt, you could always say, I don't want to have this data go and train the larger model, but I want it just to be stored with my personal model. And that's typically how you want to store confidential data. But I want to take it a step further. So government is actually working on this. So I also advise HHS and RFK and Dr. Oz. We have a monthly meeting on this. So starting in the Biden administration, when Trump first came out as part of the White House Council for Health, Hunger, and Nutrition, we started thinking about this. In June, so about 45 days ago, HFA, which is an association for our industry, along with HHS, we co-authored a bill that we submitted to Congress, and it has bipartisan support. So what does that bill include? That bill included, how does AI govern wearable data and health data? Why are we doing that? Because one thing we can have bipartisan support about is that our healthcare system is broken and that they're not invested in health. But we are as a fitness industry. So how can we also hold AI companies accountable? Because to your point, most people here wouldn't trust giving their wearable data and the health data to big AI. Nobody does. So this bill will take us about 3 years. So we submitted the first version in June. It's online. I'm happy to send you guys the link if you guys want. We were co-authors of it. But it's taking all of your fitness-related data, gym check-ins, personal training sessions, weights, lifts, loads. If you want, as a user, to submit that to AI, how do AI companies use that? Furthermore, it also adds the interaction between your wearable data and your health record. So hopefully, in less than 2 years, when you go to see your doctor, and if Epic or the whatever EMR they're using, they'll be able to come in and say, here's your annual checkup. By the way, your sleep has been decreasing over the last 12 months. We noticed your HRV go up. We noticed a spike happen here. How can we serve that? So the work is happening. I think as an industry, we understand that it has to be protected in a certain way. But in the meantime, you can always use your AI engines to help say, hey, don't send this to, into the AI cloud.
Really good questions, you guys. Well, okay, we're going to wrap it there. I do want to thank these three. I know I've learned a lot. I hope you guys have too. Max, Dania, Mo, you guys are incredible. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the energy, for everything. And I think it's lunchtime.